So yesterday we saw this example about reading a characters. So next example we will see. So before that, some explanation is there here. Okay. I think so. This program we have not executed. So let us execute this program. Paradox. Okay. So this is the program related to reading characters. Uh, so this is the program. 1 minute. Mm, okay, fine. So just observe here. So let us compile it first. So neither is it. Okay. So we'll execute this program. So just observe here. So if I give like input x space y, okay. So x is taken as first input, blank space is taken as second input, y is taken as third input. Okay. So when we read numbers, so blank space will not be taken as input. Okay. In that case, x will be first input, y will be second input. But in this case, x is first input, blank space is second input, y is third input. So if you look at the output here, see, first character is x, that is first input. Second character is blank space. Third character is y. So I hope people have understood now. Okay. Even if I give space, that space is also considered while reading a character. Okay. Um, So x space y indicates x as the first input, blank space as the second input, y as the third input. So first character is x, second character is blank space, third character is y. Okay. I think this output also people have taken. So next program we will see. Okay. So now, so in this thing, what they're telling, a white space character is a space, a tab, vertical tab, form feed, or a new line. So when we say white space character, that can be one blank space or a tab, that is horizontal tab, nothing but backslash t. If I q like backslash t, so this is considered as white space character. Okay. Next, if I give like uh, backslash v, vertical tab means backslash v, this is considered as white space character. Then for new line, backslash n. Okay. So form feed, it is not necessary right now. Let us not consider this. Okay. New line. So white space meaning, white space character meaning, it can be tab, it can be blank space, it can be vertical tab, or a new line character. The one white space character in the control string causes scanf to read but not store any number of white space characters up to the first non-white space character. That means, so whenever we give the white space characters, so what it will do is, so it will read, so but it will not store in the computer memory. Okay. uh, so it causes to read but not store any number of white space characters up to the first non-white space character. So if the sentence is if it is feeling difficult to understand, so there is one example we will see. So how it works, the same program, so they have modified here. Okay. So we will see what it is. So let me take to the next page so that it will be clear. Okay. So I will tell you what this program will do. So in this program, what I've done is same program. So in the scanf statement, little bit modification is there. That modification is, so if you observe uh, this scanf statement and this scanf statement, you can notice the difference. Okay, the difference is in this example in scanf statement. See, immediately after percent %c, again I have started with percent %c. That means there is no blank space here. If you observe, okay, there is no blank space. So first percent %c, then again immediately after that second percent %c, then immediately after that third percent %c. Okay, there is no blank space here. Okay, but when you go to the, when you come to this example, so after percent %c I have given one blank space here. Okay, then again after percent %c I have given one blank space. Okay, then I have written last percent %c. Okay, so what happens when we give like this is, so when I give three inputs, okay, so you observe this output. So we'll execute and show you. So if you observe this output, so when I give these three inputs, see, when I type X, okay, so this will considered as first input. Okay, next. So when I type blank space, in this case, blank space is not considered as input, because in scanf statement I'm telling, so whenever you give blank space in the output screen, that should not be considered as input. It will store, but it is not considered, sorry, it will read but it will not store in the computer memory. That means it is not considered as input. Okay, then again percent %c is there. C means character, so next character should be taken as input. Okay, then one blank space is there. Okay, that is read but not considered as input. Okay, next percent %c is there, so that is considered as third input. So if you observe, so X is considered as first input, so blank space is not considered. Okay, because in this kind of statement I have given blank space. Okay, then Y is considered as second input, again blank space is not considered. Okay, so then Z is considered as third input. But if you observe in the previous example, because I have not given blank space in the scanf statement, so what it will do, whenever you give blank space in the output screen, that is considered as input only. Okay, because see here, I'll tell you how it is. See, so X will be stored in variable A, blank space is stored in variable B, Y is stored in variable C, because 3% C format specifiers are given continuously without any blank space. So whatever you input, whatever you keep typing, all the things are considered as characters only. But in this example, what we are doing, immediately when you type first character, then I'm telling the compiler to stop for a while. That means there is a blank space in the scanf statement. Okay, that should not be considered. So when you give blank space in the output screen, it is not considered. Next percent %c is there, yes, consider the second input. Okay, and again stop. So if you give blank space in the output screen, yes, it should not be considered as input. Okay, next percent %c is there. Okay, next consider the third input. So in this way we are telling for the compiler, that is first percent %c refers to the first input. Then when user gives the blank space, that is one blank space, that should not be considered. Second percent %c is considered as second input. Again when user types blank space, that is not considered. Third percent %c is considered as third input. Okay, so let us execute this program. I think in this program only we can modify. See, percent %c blank space, blank space. Okay, let us execute. Now you observe here, X space Y space Z. So X is considered as first input, blank space is not considered, Y is considered as second input, again blank space is not considered, Z is considered as third input. So you observe here, first character is X, second character is Y, third character is Z. Whereas in the previous program, that is in this program only what we have modified, So if you observe here, if I don't give blank space in the scanf statement, if this is the case, then simply if I give x space y, okay, see, blank space is also considered as input. So x first character, blank space second character, y third character. So in order to avoid that, what we can do is, one minute. Okay. So here in the scanf statement, so percent %c blank space, percent %c blank space. Now, so first percent %c refers to first input. So one blank space is there, which should not be considered as an input. Then percent %c is there, second input, and again blank space is there, which should not be considered as an input. So then percent %c is there, that is the third input. So let us execute this program. So first we have to type one character, then one blank space we have to leave in the output screen, again we have to type one more character, then again one blank space we have to leave, again we can type the third character. Just observe here, x space y space z. So x is considered as first input, so blank space is not considered. Y is considered as second input, so blank space is not considered. Z is considered as third input. So first character is x, second character is y, third character is z. So for this program, so I think tracing is there. Let me see. Okay. So this is the tracing of the program. You can copy it. So you just observe here. So when we give the input in the output screen, that is where I have written this output box, x space y space z. So x is considered as first input, which is stored in variable a. Y second input, which is stored in variable b. Z third input, which is stored in variable c. So in the memory representation, so at the declaration part, a for a, b, and c, so all are blank. That means some characters are stored, but we don't know what characters. So let us assume that it is blank. So after scanf statement is executed, so x will be stored in variable a, y will be stored in variable b, z will be stored in variable c, and again in the printf statement it is printed. So you can copy this. On model. Okay. So we'll move to the next topic. So I think this is the last topic in scanf function. Okay. So you take down the topic suppressing input. Okay. Okay. So we can tell scanf function to read a field but not assign it to any variable by preceding that field's format code with an star symbol. Okay. So that means whenever we give anything in the format control string, okay, that will be read. That means that is considered as input, whether it stores in the computer memory or not. So that we can that it will see later. But it is considered as input. That means it will read. The scan meaning is to read whatever the user types from the keyboard. Okay, if I don't want that whatever the character is read not to be stored in any variable, then this thing we can do, that is we can tell scanf to read a field but not assign it to any variable. Assign it to any variable means I don't want to store it in a computer memory. So in that case what we can do is by preceding the fields format code with a star symbol, okay, with a star symbol. For example, given scanf percent d percent c, here percent after the percent symbol star c, okay, and again percent d, okay, percent d percent star c percent d. So if I give in this way, what happens we will see, okay. And arguments are x and y, okay, that means x is a variable, y is a variable, okay. If I want to store two values, okay, then we have to use these two variables x and y, okay. See, this first percent d refers to the first argument, then the last percent d refers to the last argument, then in between percent star c is there, that we will see in the program, okay. We could enter the coordinate pair 10 comma 20, okay. The comma would be correctly read but not assigned to anything, so that is the meaning here. So 10 will be stored in variable x, okay, 20 will be stored in variable y, but coming to the symbol comma, it is read but it is not stored. That means it is not assigned to any variable, so that is the meaning of suppressing input, okay. So if I want the compiler or the computer to read the character but should not store or should not assign to any variable, then we can use in this way percent star c, okay. The comma would be correctly read but not assigned to anything. So if you look at this program with output, okay, so enter two values, so percent d percent star c percent d, okay, x and y. So from this scanf statement only we will come to know how many values we have to give, okay. One more thing, so you look at this format specifiers, so many format specifiers are there, and you just look at the line in the output screen, so how we are given, okay. So here if you observe, okay, three format specifiers are there, that is percent d percent c percent d, okay. So three characters we have given 10 comma 20. So 10 is taken as first input, comma should be taken as second input, but we will see what happens. 20 should be taken as third input, right? But according to this topic what happens, uh, I don't want this comma symbol to be stored in any variable, so only, so we are given here is percent star c, okay. We'll execute this program, okay. You just observe here, um, so in the scanf statement, first percent d refers to uh, first argument, that is a, okay. Next, third percent d refers to the second, that is argument b, okay. And this percent star c, so in between if I give any other character, that is which is of not, which is not of type integer, that will be ignored. So if you just observe the output, okay, I didn't clear the screen. Mm, Okay, look here. So 10 comma 20 have given. So 10 is considered as first input, uh, whereas comma symbol it is read but it is not assigned to any variable. Next 20 is considered as second input. Okay. So once again I will execute. Just see 10 comma 20. Okay. So 10 is stored in variable A, 20 is stored in variable B. Whereas comma is ignored. Ignored in the sense it is scanned but it is not assigned to any variable. That is the use of percent star C. Okay, so this is the program with memory representation and as well as output. So look here, at the time of declaration, x and y values, we don't know what values compiler has given. Next, once we enter the values on the console screen, 10 comma 20, 10 will be stored in variable x, 20 will be stored in variable y, whereas the comma is not stored in any variable. So x equal to 10, y equal to 20. I think here a small mistake is there in printf statement. X equal to, I have write actually x here, x equal to x, y equals to y. By mistake I have written a and b, you just write it as x and y.
Srinivas here, Pradeep.
Yes sir.
Yeah, one thing I couldn't just follow is that you had mentioned that we don't like to, display the comma symbol.
Hmm.
Um, the previous one where you were talking about person B, person star C, and person D.
Hmm.
So what exactly is that? We not have to display the comma you were mentioning, and I couldn't catch up with that point of that.
Okay. So here in the scanf statement, within the double quotes, what all the things we write, those are considered as a string. So when we give input in the console screen, So whenever user types any character, so that will be read first. That means it is scanned. So once it is scanned by the processor, and next thing is it will see the arguments whether it should store in a variable or not. Okay. So if at all if at all if I am entering two values like 10 and 20, so if there is no percent star c, only percent d and percent d was there, like 10 space 20, if I give like 10 space 20, 10 is considered as first input and 20 is considered as second input. Okay. Next,
Okay.
if I want to enter like 10 comma 20, but if I enter 10 comma 20, like 10 will be considered as first input, then actually here there was no need of writing percent star c, because 10 is also an integer, 20 is also an integer. If I give 10 comma 20 also, because both are integers, comma will not consider at all, because it is a character. Here for this particular example, they wanted to show like how to suppress an input. Suppress in the sense it should be read but it should not assign to any variable. That is the meaning. Suppressing input in the sense it should be read from the keyboard but it should not assign to any variable. Okay, in that case what
Okay.
we have to do is like percent star c. So percent c indicates character, star c indicates like suppressing input. Like it will read,
Okay.
processor will read but it will not assign to any variable.
Okay. And why is that ampersand x and ampersand y is given? We can as well give like x and y.
So whenever values are read from the keyboard and if it is to be stored in a variable, so variable means name given to the computer memory location, and each memory location will be having some address. So computer should know where it has to store in a computer memory. Okay, so it will keep track of the address. So if I say store the value 10 in variable x, that x is nothing but the name of the computer memory location. Actually computer will always keep track of the addresses.
Okay.
uh,
Okay. So if you don't give the ampersand, then it will be stored in some location which is not defined, or it will not be stored. Is that the meaning?
I think it will give an error. uh,
Okay.
uh,
Can
Actually
we?
there are two
Okay.
types of errors. One type of error is like which will show at the editor screen itself. So those errors are called as compile time errors. That is actually
Okay.
before the program starts executing, like
Okay.
before we see the console screen. And another type of error is which doesn't show the editor screen, but when we look at the output, expected output we may not get. So in that case, what we think is program we have written correctly but we are not getting expected output. In that case, second type of error we have to consider, that is runtime error. So compile time error
Okay.
and runtime error, two errors are there.
But runtime error will not be traceable, right? At least there we'll get to know where the error is and what is the error.
If we want to trace the runtime error, then we have to be very good at logic and what calculations we have done and all. Uh, so
So in the
based on the question and the definition, we would write the program, and after after we get the output, if we have not got expected output, then we should come to know what exactly what we have done the mistake in calculations or in logic and all.
okay. Okay. Okay.
So one example for runtime error is like square root of a negative number
Okay.
and divide by zero.
of a negative number divided by 0. Okay.
Uh, uh, these two are the best examples of runtime error, where in the program, in the editor screen, it will not show. So
Okay.
because compile time errors only considered as grammar errors. If you are making any mistakes in grammar, like missing semicolon or missing data type, like that.
Okay.
So we will move further. I think this is the end of the chapter. I think input output functions. New chapter. If I start now, also only 10 minutes is there. So let us see some of the examples by using printf and scanner. Like okay, I think in one of the program we have taken two values for a and b, but in the program itself we have taken the values. Now we can consider from the output screen. Like, and one more thing, like, so if we are writing CLR function at this point, we may get an error. Okay, because uh, in C language, particularly in C language, so declaration part should be done first. Okay, then we can go for clear screen, printf, scanf, and all. So these are all called as action statements. After declaration part, what we write, these are all called as action statements. Action statements in the sense, either it will be input statement or output statement or any calculations or logic. Okay, even this CLRS here, it is a function. So all functions are action statements only. So only we should not write this CLRS here before declaration statement. So first declaration statement, then clear screen function. Okay, then so here if I want to tell user to enter some values, let us say enter two integer values. Okay, Okay, let us try with without giving ampersand whether it will show the compile time error or runtime error. We will see. And one more variable, and one more thing in C language, like, see, here I forgot to mention variable C in the declaration part. Okay, that doesn't mean that I can mention here, like I cannot say int C here. Okay, so all the variables should be declared at once, that is here. Okay. Whereas in C++ and Java we have the facility, like if you have forgotten to write the variable declaration, the declaration part, then we can write in the middle just before the usage of that variable. But in C language, variables are declared at once in the declaration part itself. Printf